Today we are looking at one of the most revealing conversations about Epic systems in years. Judy Faulkner, the 82-year-old founder and still CEO of Epic, sat down with Freakonomics Radio host Stephen Dubner on the Verona campus. And what came out of that interview tells us a lot about how Epic actually works, why it is structured the way it is, and why that matters for everyone in healthcare. Let's start with the moment that sets everything up. Faulkner bought a Tesla for the self-driving feature. Shortly after she got it, the car would accelerate from 35 to 60 miles an hour on hilly roads near her house and steer itself into oncoming traffic. Now, most people telling that story lead with the fear. Faulkner narrated it like a software bug report. She gave the parameters, proposed a hypothesis about why the system was misbehaving, described how Tesla replicated the problem, and concluded that Tesla reacted quite appropriately. That instinct, inputs, expected outputs, observed deviation, root cause, is not just a personality quirk. It is the operating logic of the entire company. The first key point is the 10 Commandments. Faulkner posts them around the Epic campus, including, she said, in every bathroom and break room. The list includes do not go public, do not acquire or be acquired, be frugal, and do not take on debt for operations, and what you put up with is what you stand for. It is easy to dismiss these as founder wall art. But look at what each one actually does. Do not go public eliminates the quarterly earnings pressure that pulls software companies toward extracting more from customers. Do not acquire eliminates the integration mess that has degraded platforms like Cerner under Oracle. Be frugal eliminates the leverage dynamic that pushes private equity-backed health tech companies to eventually squeeze the customers the founders never would have. These are not slogans. They are a defense against the standard playbook. The second key point is the care everywhere origin story, because it is the honest answer to a question that has frustrated people in health policy for decades. Why did clinical interoperability actually happen in the United States? Faulkner's husband is a pediatrician. Around 2007, he came home devastated because a young patient of his, a child with a known condition, had traveled to another city with her parents, gotten sick, ended up in an emergency department that had no access to her records, and died. He kept telling Faulkner that if the records had been there, she would be alive. Faulkner went back to Verona, had her team build a system to move clinical data between Epic instances, and then sent her own people across the country to physically install it at customer sites and made adoption mandatory. The federal government started trying to coordinate this in 2009 with the HITECH Act. Epic mandated it across its installed base in 2007. Whatever you think about Epic as a market participant, that is a real historical contribution. The third key point is the antitrust context. 2 cases are active right now. The Texas Attorney General is suing under the State Free Enterprise and Antitrust Act. Particle Health has a civil case in New York alleging that Epic interfered with its customer contracts. Faulkner's response on the show was essentially, "We wrote the code to let data flow out to third-party apps, but the permission to release data belongs to the health system, not to us. It is University of Wisconsin's data or Cleveland Clinic's data. It is not our data." That answer is technically correct under HIPAA. It is also commercially convenient. Both are true, and the litigation is about exactly where that line sits in 2026. The fourth key point is the succession structure, which almost nobody has written about clearly. Faulkner's stock is split. The value side funds a philanthropy called Roots and Wings, generating roughly $100 million a year that gets recycled back to employees as equity without any public offering ever happening. The vote side goes to a purpose trust with family members and Epic staff, locked under rules that make it permanently illegal for the company to go public or be acquired. And on top of that, 3 health system CEOs are specifically designated to sue any trustee who breaks those rules. That enforcement layer is genuinely novel. For anyone building a long-range competitive model that assumes Epic eventually gets bought or goes public, this structure is a direct challenge to that assumption. That covers the setup, what the 10 Commandments actually do, how care everywhere came to exist, what the antitrust cases are actually about, and how the succession structure is designed to work. For the full analysis, including what Epic's 30% R&D rate means for every competitor in the market, what the AI disclosures signal, and what all of this means if you are building or investing in health tech, that is in Part 2 of the article linked below. Subscribe to On Healthcare for Part 2 and the full analysis, link below.